Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art. Today is day 39 of 365 days of junk journal ideas. And today we're going to be making some ledger page journaling cards. I am going to decorate the ones I'm making today with my postcard digital that is available in Etsy. This is the size it comes in standard. However, if you print 2 to a page, you can get the smaller size. I'm going to use the smaller size images for my project, but you do get a variety of pretty French postcards. These are antique French postcards in the digital. And like I said, that's available in Etsy. If you print the digital 2 to a page, it comes out like this. And so that's how you get the smaller, like wallet size photographs. So that's what I'm going to use for decorating some of them. I won't decorate them all the same way. I am going to use some vintage music paper. And so if you have any vintage music paper laying around, that's going to be a great thing today. And any type of ledger will work. I'm just working on a blue journal series, as most of you guys know. So I'm going to use blue ledger. However, any ledger will work. Digitals of ledger will work. If you guys want me to post the blue ledger digital in Etsy, I can do that for you guys as well. So that's what I'm going to use. And all I'm going to do to make my journal cards is I'm going to take my original ledger and glue it to coffee dyed paper. So that's the first thing we're going to do. And so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and tear my ledger page down the middle into two. And I'm going to pick the prettiest side of my coffee dyed paper. I mean, there isn't an ugly side really, but I'm going to pick the prettiest one. And you are going to have to sacrifice one side of your ledger. So just pick whichever side you like the best and don't glue on that one. And so I'm just going to glue this up right on my coffee dyed page. And then I'm going to stick it to it. And then we'll cut out some journal cards. And so I'm just going to move this up, get glue everywhere. And I'm in Arizona and the weather is pretty dry here. And I've noticed that things that I have been gluing lately since it got warm again have been drying super, super fast. So I do have a little bit of chunks there I want to take care of. And then just put your ledger page down on your copy dyed page. If you're using a digital, again, it will work out the same. No one, can tell the difference really anymore from digitals and the real deal. So that's that. I do need to glue the rest of this over here. I wasn't sure if it was going to go all the way to the edge or what, but it did. So let's go ahead and glue it. So then we're going to cut out some journal cards. I will let this dry for just a second and get set up to decorate them because this is a quick make. So the point of it is you have your beautiful ledger page on the front of your journal card to decorate over, and then you'll have coffee dyed paper for the person to write on the back of the journal card on the back of it. So that was why we did that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out these journal cards, and I am hoping that this cutter behaves itself so that we can cut out this ledger. First thing, I'm just going to take my scissors because it's easier. The cutter has been acting up, and I do have a new cutter, and I also have my Caterpillar. So I'm not like lacking cutters. What was nice about this one is it was lightweight and easy to transport back and forth between the rooms. Because as many of you guys know, this isn't my crafting room. This is actually the room that I do the live sales in. And so it has, just different lighting and camera setup. I would like to go and craft back in my craft room again. It is much more comfortable and all of my craft supplies are right there. So I don't have to do with that fussy cutting scissors when I forget to bring them in or, whatever. I can get to all of my embellishments also. So hopefully one of these days I will make my videos back over there in the craft room and not in the live sale room. But for right now, we're moving a whole bunch of stuff around. So it is what it is until we get things situated. This is pretty dry. I'm going to try cutting it in the cutter. I just want to kind of think about what size I want my journal cards. Normally, I like a 4x6, 3x5 to 4x6 size journal card. I think we're going to try to cut it in half. So let's see how big this page is to begin with. So it looks like I can cut it in half, and maybe I'll end up with like 2 3 1/4 inch journal cards. Nope, it's wanting to tear it. It's okay. The cutter just doesn't like the wet glue very much, so I will hand cut my journal cards. Not a big deal. Normally I cannot cut a straight line, but we're going to get what we're going to get today, and it'll be fine. All right, so from there, it's like a 3.25 inch wide journaling card. That's just the size of my ledger so that I could get 2 out of it. And then from there, I'm going to make them a little bit longer than I probably normally would. This one, I might actually make a tag, but let's for now worry about 2 journal cards that are about 3 by 5. They're a little bit over 3 by 5, but that's what I'm working with there. Okay, so we've got our journal cards. They're going to dry. Once they're dry, they'll be beautiful. I will ink around them in here just a little bit when we get them decorated. But for now, let's talk about decoration. I want to use those little postcards, but before I put those postcards on there, I also want to put some music behind them. And I know I want to use this little girl right here and probably that one. Those ones are kind of my favorites. So I really was hoping to have these cut out before I started, but I didn't get that far. So now we're going to cut them out on the fly. I hope that you guys are having a great day. This video is airing on Friday. So hopefully you guys had a good week. Now Friday is the day that we do our Craft With Me live on this channel. And so on Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so it should be the day that this video airs, I will be doing a live Craft With Me, and we will start making the French blue journals. And so the French blue journals, I did have kits available. I don't have kits anymore for the moment. I'm going to have a new kit that will come out the middle of this month, the middle of February, and it will be a different theme, different color combination, etc. And so those kits are only sold during my live sales. So about the middle of February, I'll have a live sale on a Tuesday, and I will let you guys know in advance in the video, just like this morning where I'm talking to you. And I'll tell you guys that I got the journal kit done, and we're getting ready to, make a new journal. And then if you are interested in getting the journal kit, you can purchase it at the live sale. You don't have to purchase the journal kit in order to do the Craft With Me. The Craft With Me is open for everyone to watch and everyone to participate in. You can use the supplies that you already have and make a similar journal to what we're making. A lot of the supplies that I put in the kits are antique and vintage, but I'm sure you probably have something that will work. So there's 3. If we make these tall ones into journal cards, there's 3. Let's go ahead and find a 4th image. Let's do this little girl. I can't not do her. She is so sweet. Although the one holding the purple flowers is also one of my favorites. So anyway, we're going to start making these journals, these blue journals that you guys have been seeing me make ephemera for quite a long time. We're going to make the journals that all that ephemera will eventually be placed in. And yeah, so you guys can come and hang out tonight at 7 p.m. on the channel. And it should be a fun time. And even if you're not making the journal or any journal, you can come and hang out and chat with all your friends there in the live chat. So that's kind of what we got there. Let's get some music page out. And we'll start getting some background music page behind these. This one is a great size. It just needs cut down a little bit and tore. I might not. I'm just going to tear it. And so from there, I hate to cover up those numbers, but that's the way that one went. So maybe we need to put this one on this one. And then I'm covering up a whole lot of handwriting. So I'm going to get rid of a little more of my music here. And then I'm going to put that there. That looks good. I don't want quite as much music as I've got going on here. So I'm going to trim it down, and then I'm going to cut it with my scissors right here so that I can kind of tear it straight across. That's looking pretty good. I'm liking the way that's going. And then my little image, one of these, will go on there. So that's pretty good. Let's worry about some music page for the rest of them. You know, you don't have to put music page either. You could put anything that you wanted to put on there. And it's just adding another layer. And since the ledger pages all have handwriting on them, music is a good way to go. It's just, you know, it's a different look. It's you know, handwriting. We don't need more handwriting. So we are going to use some music page. And so that's going to work for that one, I think. And then I'll just trim off the excess. So let me tear that one just a little bit more. And I'm going to cover up the middle of it anyway with my focal point. So that's good. We need one more. I don't know which one he was on originally, but one more little bit of music. And so for this one, I'm going to get all these numbers over here to this side. So when I glue on my music, I'm going to decide how far into my ledger page that I want that music to go. So we've got that all situated. Let's glue those down. Let me not lose track of time either. So I'm just going to glue the edge of my music page. This is pretty thin music. So I only use this one for collaging like I'm doing today. So I've glued the edges and I'm just putting some down through the middle. And I don't know where it will eventually end up. We're just going to have to play with it and see how much of my ledger that I'm willing to part with. When it's blue ledger, not a whole lot. So there's that. From there, I just need to ink quickly around my pictures. I printed them on 32-pound cardstock, or 32-pound laser paper. You can print them with inkjet. They print beautifully with either. I have done the Eco Tank with them, and they print just as nice. I know that I'm going to do a video for you guys that talks about printer tricks, because a lot of questions come in about printing digitals and what's the best paper, and, you know, kind of troubleshooting some of the printing of digitals. A lot of people struggle. Their printers don't behave. Their colors don't print out the same as, you know, their monitor looks. And so I do have a whole video planned that's going to help go over all of that. And so if you hang tight, I will go over all of those, you know, printer issue things. But the printer that I use the most is the Eco Tank 3850. I am going to link the printer down in the description box below, only because you guys have asked so many times what printer I use. And that one is one of my favorites. I also use the laser, which I just talked about. And the laser printer, it's, you know, it's for a specific thing. Normally, I use the laser printer if I'm going to coffee dye. If I'm going to coffee dye the print, I don't want to print it with the Eco Tank, because that printer is not the ink. While it is a pigment ink, it is not water stable. So all pigment ink will fade. It will run when you get it wet. So you want to make sure that you're printing with, if you're going to copy dye your pages, so that like you're copy dyeing that white backing, you want to make sure that you're printing those kinds of things on a laser printer. Only a laser printer will give you something that you can submerge in water like coffee, and, you know, your ink will not run. And so it is kind of important to know that. So many people, they try to coffee dye something that is printed with inkjet, and inkjet, as soon as you get it wet, it will run, unless, you know, you've put some medium over it and didn't submerge it, that kind of thing. But so that's stuff we're going to talk about. But let's get these done quickly. But the laser printer I do only when I'm gonna use like wet mediums or whatever. Sometimes I, you know, for the digitals that I make in Etsy, I print them both printers, because I want to make sure before I list a digital in Etsy that it prints beautifully no matter which kind of printer you're using. So I do print those out both ways, just to kind of make sure everything is good, because I don't know, you know, what kind of printer the person who purchases them is going to have. So I would hate to, again, list a digital in Etsy that won't print nice on a laser printer. So that's where these came from, these little prints. That's why I've got them printed with the laser. But it does print really beautifully. The only problem with laser printers are they cannot print borderless. And so for most of the journaling pages and things that I want to print, I want them to be printed borderless because I don't want to have to trim off that ugly white edge. I just feel like it's kind of unnecessary. The Eco Tank that I listed in the description box, it prints borderless and it does an absolutely beautiful job at borderless. And the ink does last forever in that. You can use the ink that the Epson recommends, but also on Amazon there is very inexpensive ink. And I would not, so because I sell prints of my digitals too, I don't use that kind of knockoff ink in my printer, but I have heard, because my daughter has the same printer, that cheaper ink is definitely prints as beautiful as the regular ink. And so you can buy a whole set of ink on Amazon that is the, kind of knockoff brand. And it's like $16 for a whole set of those kinds of inks. And she uses it and she does junk journals and she says it's beautiful. So I trust her opinion on it. And I think that, a whole set of bottles of ink for $16 when they last you hundreds and hundreds of prints. That's such a good value. I wish that the laser printer and the other Epson ink was that inexpensive. As it is now for me for Epson ink, it is about $45 for a set of bottles of ink. But again, I do get hundreds and hundreds of full color borderless prints before I have to replace my ink. So, it's still not that bad. But if you weren't probably, selling your digitals that are printed out, you probably wouldn't need to worry about using the actual Epson ink. And I don't know that there is a difference for sure, but it's just something where I'm, I don't want to skimp on things that I sell. I've always tried to do the very best if I know someone else is going to be the one paying for it. You know what I mean? So there's that information about inks and printers. We're getting these done and they're looking gorgeous. I love them. I do want to add lace to these. I don't know if we will get a chance on camera, but I know in my head that I wanted to add lace to these journaling cards. So we will have to do that. I'll probably show you guys these later on Friday. So today is not Friday, but whenever you guys come for craft with me on Friday, I will probably show you the big pile of blue ephemera that I already have built up. That way, you guys can get inspired and get out there and make some ephemera ahead of time too. So here's these as they sit right now. You can see I put music different ways on each one of them. So from here, I do need to add a couple more little embellishments, like they all need some kind of little label or number or something down here across the bottom of them. If I didn't want to do that, I could go ahead and put a tiny little bit of lace just kind of partially at the bottom of them, and then add a little something up at the top, maybe a postage stamp on a couple of them, maybe a little butterfly up there at the top of them. But there is more embellishing to be done. And then from there, we would just, ink around them so that you can kind of see them framed out. And I think that when you use the original ledger page, it does add, a little bit more authentic look, but I know that the digitals will print out beautiful too. So whether you're using my digitals or anybody else's digitals, all Etsy digitals that I've ever purchased, they have been good. I don't know, what kind of digitals people are getting that they're having trouble with, but I have always been happy with the digitals that I got off of Etsy. So, if you guys are in the market, it doesn't matter to me whether you buy them from me or anyone else. If you're in the market, head on over, take a look and see what's listed on there. Have fun, and then get yourself a good printer so that you guys can print out your ephemera and your stuff for junk journaling without it costing an arm and a leg. And so there's those kind of inked. I think inking these does make a difference because we trimmed down old paper and there was a, naturally tanned edge on one side of it. So we kind of evened it out there. But that's those, guys. I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me on Friday, and I hope to see you all later tonight. Again, it starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Super excited to start those new journals. I hope you guys are too, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.